Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something, well, it's a segment of children's literature that's doing so much more than just telling a story.
It really is. We're analyzing a picture book series, The Adventures of Cosmo the Duck by Melissa M. Lisk.
Right. And we have 4 of them here, sort of a tour through the seasons, Fabulous Fairy Garden for spring.
Autumn Apple Pie, The Blue Lagoon for summer, and The Wintry Ride.
And our mission for you today is to understand that these aren't just, sweet little stories.
Not at all. We're calling them engineered sensory guides. That's really what they are.
That term is perfect. It just hits on the intentionality of it all. They're built specifically for neurodivergent kids.
Exactly. Children on the autism spectrum, other neurodivergent learners, they're designed to teach really essential daily living skills in a way that feels safe and predictable.
And this all comes directly from the author, Melissa Lisk. She has a deep personal connection to this, doesn't she?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's highly qualified on paper MA in English, over a decade teaching composition literature.
So she knows how to write.
She knows how to write. But the real inspiration behind this whole series is her son, who is autistic.
Ah, okay.
So his perspective, his need for clarity and predictability, that's the foundation for every single one of these books. She was writing to fill a need she saw firsthand.
Which explains the core approach you see across all 4. It's always simple language, gentle repetition, and these incredibly vivid, purposeful illustrations.
Right. The whole point is to lower the cognitive load. You want to maximize understanding and independence and, really importantly, joy.
Joy in learning, which can sometimes get lost.
It can. A lot of kids on the spectrum struggle with executive function skills, the things that help us plan, organize.
Sequence tasks.
Right. And these books provide a kind of cognitive scaffolding for that. They create this calm, sensory-rich space where a task like getting dressed, which can be overwhelming.
Suddenly feels manageable.
Exactly. Because every step is laid out, visually and verbally, with zero ambiguity.
Okay, so let's unpack this and dive into the seasons. We can start with spring and fall. They seem to be focused very heavily on practical skills and routines.
Yeah, these two are about getting hands-on, developing those fine motor skills, and really mastering a sequence of actions.
So we start in spring with Fabulous Fairy Garden. The story's simple. Cosmo wants to plant a garden and asks his friend Arlo to help.
And the source material highlights this as a very targeted exercise.
Yeah.
It's about fine motor skills, but also sensory exploration.
It's that idea you mentioned, kind of therapy disguised as fun.
It is. Nurturing creativity is the hook, but the actual mechanics, the digging, the planting, placing all the little items, that's building strength in the hands.
And Lisk is so specific with the details. It's not just a planter. Cosmo chooses the large yellow polka-dotted planter. He picks a tree with decorative bees and blinking lights. He gets fragrant flowers, red, yellow, blue, white, and then he uses shiny silver stones and cozy moss. Why that level of detail?
Well, that's the sensory engineering at work. For a neurodivergent learner, those specifics aren't just, flavor text. They're tactile markers, visual markers.
Okay.
The difference between cozy moss, which is soft and maybe a little damp, and the shiny silver stones, hard, smooth, reflective, that's intentional. It provides contrasting sensory input.
Ah, so it helps a child connect the feeling of a texture with the actual object and the action.
Exactly. It aids in sensory integration. And what about the social piece, the part with his friend Arlo?
Right. It's not just Cosmo working alone.
No, and the book explicitly models that social communication. Cosmo asks for help. They work together.
A shared goal.
A shared goal. It's basically a clear, successful script for collaboration, which can be a really challenging area to navigate.
So if spring is about collaboration and building something physically, how does fall then kind of shift that focus?
It shifts directly into sequencing and routine. Autumn Apple Pie is pure executive function training.
The activity is harvesting apples and baking a pie with Arlo and another friend, Cubby the chef.
And the skill here is just following a routine step by step. That orderliness reduces anxiety because the outcome is predictable.
And the narrative is, it's almost clinical in its precision. First, it identifies the tools.
Yes. The roller pin, a large mixing bowl, measuring cups, a pie pan.
And a knife to slice the apples into a wedge. Why specify a wedge? Why not just say slice the apples?
Because for a learner who needs things to be explicit, ambiguity is the enemy. Slice the apples could mean anything. Dice them. Chop them.
So wedge removes all doubt.
It completely removes misinterpretation. The recipe becomes an algorithm. If you follow it precisely, you get the predictable, delicious result. that builds so much confidence.
It's like a visual instruction manual. And just like the garden, the sensory stuff is layered right in, smelling the cinnamon, feeling the smooth apples.
Hearing the crunch of leaves outside, it's a multi-sensory experience, and that's crucial for memory. You're mapping the smells and textures to the successful outcome of the pie.
And the final step, adding the vanilla ice cream.
A predictable, fun, and immediate reward. It's comfort through routine.
Which brings us to the second half of the year, summer and winter. And here, the focus seems to pivot a bit.
It does. It moves from those hands-on routines to something more cognitive. Categorization, comparison.
And dealing with external sensory input, like weather.
Which requires flexible thinking. The ability to understand that what works in one season is totally wrong for another.
Let's look at summer then, with the Blue Lagoon. The setup is Cosmo's feathers are sticky from the heat, and he needs to pack for the beach.
And this story directly tackles the challenge of matching objects to the right activity and season.
The book does this really clever thing, this rejection modeling, as the source calls it.
Yes, it's brilliant. It doesn't just show Cosmo packing the right things, it shows him actively rejecting the wrong things, and explains why.
Like, he finds his winter skis, but puts them back because they're for snow, not sand. He grabs the skimboard instead.
Exactly. He rejects hiking boots because he's not climbing. He selects floaties. It teaches comparison by showing both sides of the choice.
And for a child who might get fixated on an object, like their favorite hiking boots, this gives them an explicit reason why it has to be set aside for this specific task.
Precisely. It builds confidence for when they have to make those decisions on their own. It even gets into safety, but through a sensory lens. He needs sunblock to avoid turning.
Crispy red.
A vivid, relatable sensory term for sunburn, not just an abstract warning.
So if summer is about categorization for heat, then the wintry ride is the flip side, connecting those chilly sensory signals with the right clothes.
And this book is it's a masterclass in demonstrating problem solving through gentle trial and error.
It starts by validating the feeling. Cosmo needs his belly, nose, hands, and toes to be toasty.
It starts with the sensory discomfort, and then it shows the process of deduction.
And the really genius part is that he's allowed to make mistakes.
Yes. He tries the umbrella first, and we learn, okay, that keeps you dry, but it doesn't keep you warm.
So that's one variable solved. Then he tries a hat and scarf. They keep his head snug, but
his belly is still chilly. So the problem gets broken down into smaller pieces. He's not just cold. Specific parts of him are cold.
By showing the failed attempts, the author is demystifying the whole process. It shows that a mistake isn't a failure, it's part of a logical sequence.
Right. The problem isn't that he chose a wrong thing. It's that the object didn't achieve the goal, which was warmth.
So he keeps connecting that sensory input, the frosty belly, to a new item until he gets it right. He picks the fluffy, furry coat.
And then his toes are cold. So now it's a final categorization task. He chooses woolly winter snow boots, not rain boots.
Waterproof mittens, not rubber gloves.
It's connecting that internal feeling of discomfort directly to the correct external solution. And then it reinforces the routine by having him put everything away properly when he comes back inside.
Completing the cycle.
The full cycle of self-care and organization.
So when you synthesize this whole thing, this year-long curriculum, the structure is just so smart.
It really is.
You have spring and fall building these foundational, hands-on skills, motor control, sequencing, and then summer and winter take it up a level.
To higher level cognitive skills.
Yeah.
Flexible thinking, categorization, making choices based on sensory data.
The whole series is really a curriculum for independence. Melissa Lisk isn't just an author here.
No, she's an architect. She's building scaffolding for independence, but in a way that always prioritizes emotional safety and predictability.
And that sensory integration piece is just constant, but it's never overwhelming. It maps all these physical sensations, the smell of flowers, the feel of fuzzy fabric.
Or crunch of snow.
To specific desirable life activities.
And that mapping is how the confidence gets built. The routines, the predictable patterns, the explicit comparisons. That's the core design.
So we've seen Cosmo teach this huge range of skills. Fine motor in the garden, sequencing with the pie, categorization for the beach, and that step-by-step sensory matching for winter. It's just an incredibly purposeful body of work.
And a fantastic model for parents and educators.
But as we wrap up, I want to bring up one final detail. It was sort of tucked away in the notes about the next book in the series. It mentions that in the next fairy garden adventure, Cosmo meets a new friend who, and this is a direct quote, doesn't speak but says a lot.
Wow. That is That's a fascinating choice, especially for this audience.
Isn't it? And it just raises this really important question that builds on everything we've talked about. We've focused so much on the practical skills for the individual child dressing, baking, packing.
Right, for themselves.
But this suggests a move towards something else, a deeper layer of social and emotional intelligence. So the final thought for you is this. How does this very specific style of storytelling, this gentle, structured, sensory-focused world, how does it prepare a child to understand and communicate with a friend whose own communication style is nonverbal?
That's a great question.
It's like the series is moving beyond self-care into community care. So as you go about your day, think about that. Think about how Cosmo's clear visual sensory world might be the perfect bridge to help a child understand that communication is so much more than just words.